Hey guys, Jordan here. Welcome back to a new video. Today we have our first white motherboard in the X870 range, X870E AORUS Pro Ice. There's also an X870 Elite Ice as well, which we'll probably be looking at some point. But this is going to be the Extreme, so that's the two chipsets, which actually does give you some better functionality over what is essentially a B650E refresh with the X870. I'll put the card on the screen if you want to watch my full roundup of the boards, because I do talk about that more there. But if you are looking to upgrade for the so let's get into this one. I'll of course walk you through the board as we go. We'll move this out of the way just to look what's underneath first. We have got some white SATA cables, white ends as well, very nice. One right angled, one there. We've got a little microphone if you do want to use their tweaking thing that kind of like detects internal noise and helps reduce that. G connector just allows you to put all your front panel onto one block and then put that in one go. Wi-Fi antennas has got the little quick release, quick connect plug on the end there as well. All white as well. Was it magnetic? It is, so nice little touch there. And we've got some documentation, multilingual install guide, some stickers, and also a little case badge if you want to use those. Don't seem to be including a full manual nowadays, obviously to cut down on the paper. That is one thing that I do like to have a full one on personally, but I understand it for the sake of saving the trees. There we go. Oh, very silvery actually, as well as the white. I believe this part on the top left will light up when the board is powered. We have got some very beefy heat sinks over the VRM and the power stages. This does have a 16+2+2 80 amp smart power stage, so whatever you want to whack in, even some future CPUs, this will handle it, no worries there. A couple of little sparkly accents on the board as well. Let's just turn it over, have a look on the back. There's a reinforced PCIe armor slot there, but otherwise a little bit of silk screening, but fairly plain on the back. I think that's quite a good thing, because you're going to be paying for something you're not going to see when it's in the case then otherwise, so I do like to see a fairly minimal back. So let's have a look around the board itself. On the top left hand side we have got two 8-pin EPS connectors. These are all solid pins as well. We have got three 4-pin headers to the right of that, all nicely white. There's a CPU optional CPU fan and a system fan 4. We have got a power and a reset button, very handy buttons to have, I do love to see those. Then below that we have got our first 3-pin 5-volt addressable header. Little postcode reader, very handy thing to see. You have got the little LEDs below that. I think the readouts are great though, and I think they should be on every board, especially as they're quite cheap to implement as well. We've got our 24-pin for power. We've got two additional 4-pins. These are both for pumps. And we have got a USB-C header in the middle. That's also going to be 20 gigabits per second. A nice quick release. That's all a very satisfying one there as well. So that will be a nice solid release to take your graphics card out when you've got that enabled. That does feel very solid. And then on the right angle we have got an HDMI port. We've seen these on a couple of boards now. It's just if you want to have a little internal screen for some stats or some specs, you can easily run the cable into the motherboard rather than having to like run it round from the outside of the case. On the right angle we have got four SATA 6 gigabit ports. We've then got a USB 3 Type A header. Our front panel on the bottom right where you'd usually expect it. There's three more 4 pins, so system fan 1, 2 and 3. Then another USB 3 header there for Type A. 2 headers for USB 2, so great for anything like fan controllers, RGB hubs and that kind of stuff. Going a bit further along we've got a standard 12-volt RGB connector and an additional two 5-volt 3 pins. And finally we've got our front panel audio on the left hand side. This is using a Realtek ALC 1220 codec. Going back up to the socket, AM5, so support for 7000, 8000 and 9000 series processors. And then on the right hand side we have got support for our DDR5. At the time of recording that supports up to 256 gigabytes of DDR5 at 8000 megahertz with Expo. You may find that there'll be future BIOS updates that allow higher frequencies or capacities, but at the time of filming anyway, that's what you can support, but 256 gigabytes is mental enough anyway. So going down to our expansion slots, the top one has one of their easy latches just to release that. Big old piece of aluminium, and then of course we'll be supporting a Gen 5 drive underneath. Also another thermal pad on there, make sure you take that off. There's also a quick release for the actual M.2 drive. That will take up to 110mm in that one. We've also then got a little cover that we can take off again with a quick release latch to reveal another 3 110mm NVMe slots. The top and bottom are Gen 5, then the middle is a Gen 4 linked to the chipset. Just something to bear in mind, if you do use the additional Gen 5 slots down below, that will drop the X16 slot down to X8, so Gen 5 X8 or Gen 4 X8. real world scenario, it may just be a couple of frames difference, but that is something that I'm going to try when we do have some Gen 5 cards, because I'm quite curious to see. If it went down to X4, then it's something to worry about, but I think X8 is going to be okay. The 4090 doesn't use all the bandwidth that's available for a Gen 4 slot as it is, so it may not impact it too much, but I thought I'd let you know anyway. So of course our top PCIe slot will be Gen 5, also an armoured slot as you saw on the back, and has got the nice quick release latch. Then we've got an additional 2 down below. The top one is Gen 4 and the bottom is Gen 3. Those bottom slots will be running X4 speeds though, but it's certainly enough to run a capture card or a sound card, something along those lines. Last but not least, onto the rear audio, we've got a Q flash button, a very handy thing to have. There's 2 USB 2 ports, also HDMI if you want to use maybe 8000 series processor. Don't see the appeal too much with this kind of series board, but it's there should you need it. We've got the blue USB ports, these are 5 gigabits per second. And with the red ones, there's 3 of those, the 10 gigabits per second. We've got our quick release antennas for our Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi 7, Bluetooth 5.4. Then we've got our 2.5 gig Ethernet. There's a line out, microphone in, and an SP diff. And finally, we've got our USB 4 connectors, so USB Type-C, 40 gigabits per second, and also support DisplayPort. So that was a look around the X870E AORUS Pro Wi-Fi ICE edition. Nice to have a whiteboard on the channel. Hopefully we'll be able to look at the Asus X870A at some point as well. For the price though, I don't think this is too bad, considering we looked at the Elite Wi-Fi 7, that was $289, so this is going to be another £50, but you have the extreme version, so you've got the double chipset, which does allow you a lot more functionality than the standard X870, which, like I said, is pretty much a B650E. So yeah, certainly not too bad in terms of price, I don't think. Let me know if you'd like to see this in a build. Certainly getting my mind stewing on what we can do with this. I've got some white cases that this would fit very well into, and I think this is my favourite AORUS board that I've looked at so far. So yes, good luck trying to get this one back. But thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know if you've got any more questions down below. I will put the links for this in the description box below as well if you want to pick one up. Thank you to AORUS for sending it out for me to look at. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.